Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to the Fashionista Life, brought to you by True Fashionistas. And I am your host, Jennifer Johnson. And I am here today with my good friend, Karen. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Jennifer. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. And I refer to you as the queen bee of sustainability.
It's perfect.
So, we actually met through True Fashionistas.
Yes, we did.
You partnered with us as you like to partner with a lot of local businesses, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But that's how we met.
Yes.
And one thing leads to another, leads us to here today.
I'm so thrilled.
And you have inspired me in so many ways, and we're going to talk about one of the ways because I know what I'm asking for Mother's Day.
Oh, great. I love it. I can't wait to hear.
So as long as I've known you, you've been about sustainability
Yes.
and reduce, reuse, recycle, and what can we do to help the planet and help each other and all of that. So let's talk about that. How long have you been sustainable and what got you into it? What got you interested?
I think the cool thing is being born into Southern Ohio on a farm. I didn't know any different. I really didn't.
That's crazy because that's a parallel between us. I grew up
Yes.
on a farm too.
Yes. So, my dad used to cut the milk jugs in half and you put your scraps from the table and all the veggies and things from our farm, our garden, of course. And we just carried it out to the compost. I didn't even know that wasn't normal. So,
And that's funny because that's how I grew up too. My parents called it the slop pail.
yes, sure.
And they brought it out to the pigs.
Yes. Yes, because there are some things that pigs can eat that shouldn't be in our
Right.
compost worm farm, all of the above. But yeah, I was born into it. And so you can't take it. What's the saying? You can't take the farm out of the girl. You can take the girl out of the farm and not the farm out of the girl.
Exactly.
There it is.
You're right. That's
Yes.
very true. I can attest to that. That's how I grew up, and I had no idea.
No.
When I went to a friend's house, I'm thinking, well, where do they put their scraps? Where do
Right.
they didn't do what we did.
No, and honestly, I was annoyed at times as a child because I thought I want to be cool like the kids in town who just scrape
Yeah,
it.
I agree with you.
Right?
I get it.
Like I don't want to go out into the night and
Right.
there might be a snake out there or something. So I was a little irritated, and I had no idea how good I had it
Right.
and how we've got to bring this back. It should have never gone away.
But isn't that how that works? Like,
Yes.
I remember growing up on a farm. I hated it. I just wanted to be like
Yes.
the cool city kids.
Right.
And,
Mhm.
and then you grow up, you move away, you have children of your own, and you go, oh my, I wish I had that back.
My parents knew, didn't they?
Mother always knows best.
Absolutely. So we had chores. We had to go pick the beans and check the corn. And, I still say knee high by the 4th of July.
Absolutely. I say the same thing. If it's not, we've got some problems.
Yes. And how fortunate are we here in Southwest Florida to have all of these farms in Immokalee.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
seed to table. And it's coming back.
Right.
Here we are.
And it's all year, all the
Yes.
time.
Yes.
We live in the southern climate, so we are very fortunate for that.
Right.
So growing up on a farm, that kind of started your journey into this without you even really knowing it.
Yes, absolutely.
So now flashback to now, like how long ago did you really, really get into doing it on your own, and how did you start? What did you start with?
Well, recycling. Again, growing up on a farm, there just wasn't recycling. Well, there was. It was take your glass bottles to the neighborhood store and you
Right.
got your nickel or
Right.
your 10 cents. But then, you had to be in a city. And so moving to Southwest Florida, I was amazed. Like this is included in our tax dollars.
Mhm.
And you roll this tall, beautiful cart to the curb. There are no excuses. You
Right.
can hear me how I
Right.
feel about this. So, you know, my kids went to Naples Christian Academy and they had no recycling, and I just had a problem with it. I said,
Mhm.
all of this is going into the trash, and we're teaching people like God gave us this earth, this home. We have to take care of it.
Mhm.
This is just a simple no-brainer way. And so I was semi-hired, but I worked for free.
Voluntold.
Voluntold to create this recycling program. And then going around our beautiful city, there were so many schools. We ended up being in a recycling competition, and there were schools across Naples that helped us.
Oh, that's
We'll
cool.
give you our recycling too. So it started with, I have a Rubbermaid container in my car. I will take all of the things
Oh
from
my
lunch.
gosh.
Oh, it was a mess. It was a sticky mess, literally. And then, of course, getting the recycling to the schools. And
Right.
I think our kids, like, don't they just automatically know this? But actually, that generation is one of the tougher ones because they know, okay, China's not buying our recycling anymore. And
Right.
so they think that I'm just in this pretend world of it's really all going to the trash anyway. So then,
I
yeah,
want to back up on
okay.
something. You said China's not buying our they
Recycling.
bought our recycling. I don't
There
know any of
there
this.
are there are countries that would buy recycling, but now there's just too much.
What would they buy it for?
There's other uses. I mean, you can even see like, certain brands, even that you sell in your store
Mhm.
that will say, made from recycled
Right,
plastic.
yes.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I never really realized that.
Yes.
I just, envision things going on a barge in the middle of the ocean,
Right.
and
Right.
what are they doing with that? Where's that
But there's
going?
too much now, and that's the point of sustainability is like, what can we do? Like the new recycling is compost or bring your own. Like
Mhm.
I can't say you'll never ever, but you're very unlikely to ever see me purchase water in plastic containers or carry it.
As I have a plastic water bottle on the desk, I'm moving it and hiding it in my bag.
And what's funny? The people do think when they see me, or they'll see me at Publix, and
Mhm.
they'll hide their plastic grocery bags, or they'll
Here
be
she
like,
comes.
"Don't look," and I'm like, "No, no, no. There's no judgment." And that's the
Right.
thing is, we don't need just a bunch of people doing zero waste or no plastic. We need all of us just giving some sort of effort, and
Right.
it just grows
Mhm.
tenfold. And I know that you want to talk about that too. Like, oh my goodness, it's so overwhelming. Where do
Right.
we start?
It is, absolutely, and I think about, because we do live in Southwest Florida,
Mhm.
we have a lot of restaurants have gone to paper straws.
Yes.
Not all of them, but
Right.
a
Or
lot
you have
of
to
them.
request them at least.
Right,
Mhm.
and, Starbucks, their deal with, bringing, your own coffee mug, and
Yes.
didn't I just see something announced with them that they're using all, recyclable material now, whereas they weren't
Well,
before?
and there's some debate on that too. There are a lot of local businesses here who have partnered with Naples Compost, and that's great.
Yes, and we're gonna talk about
But
them.
so many people think like, oh, great, if I throw this cup now into the trash, it's going to be composted, and that's not the case at all.
What do you mean? It doesn't.
No, so, like, the landfill is not set up to break down food waste, composting, like, it produces methane gas.
Okay.
So, yes, is it better to buy a compostable container and then
Mhm.
throw it in the trash versus plastic? 1,000%, yes, but it's not doing what people think it's doing. So,
Okay.
the ultimate best is bring your own.
See, and I would never, without having this conversation,
Mhm.
if I get a paper cup, I'm like, "Oh, I'm doing the
It'll
best I
be
can,"
fine.
because
Yes.
I can just throw it in there and it's gonna be gone in a week.
Right,
It's
right.
gonna decompose and go by, like those the peanuts that they tried to make, you know, biodegradable,
Right.
probably aren't really biodegradable, you
Correct.
know?
And so you have this good, better, best.
Mhm.
So is it good to buy a composted cup? That's good.
Mhm.
Is it better to take that cup and put it in your compost? That's better. Is it best to bring your own cup and wash it and reuse it
Right.
1,000 times? That's best. And so I just
Absolutely.
want people to start thinking like good, better, best,
Right.
and throw away. Where is away? Away is still somewhere.
Right, exactly. But without having this meaningful conversation about it,
Mhm.
one would never really, we go about our daily lives and, "Oh, it's not really affecting me now. It's not affecting
Right.
me now," but it's not affecting you right now, but it's going to affect your children's children and their
Absolutely.
children and, on down the line.
Right, which is why I was so thrilled when you came to town, and what do you say, it's 12 years ago?
Yes,
I still can't
I
believe
know,
that.
right?
12 years ago, and I'm like, "Consignment." I
I
mean,
know.
this has been going on for a while,
Mhm.
but it's brilliant because I'm looking at all of this plastic that's saved, no one's trucking this in
Right.
from elsewhere, wherever that is, and, of course, we can talk about fuel and gas and all the oh,
All of that stuff right now.
yes.
I mean, because, it's not just the emissions that it's giving off. Now we're
Right.
talking about inflation and how much everything else is costing. And
Exactly.
and that's kind of falls in line with all of this because you bring your own cup. And I love your cup, by the way.
Oh,
Always be
thank you.
humble and kind. We're going to talk about your bees here too, and your worms.
Yes.
Mind your bees and worms.
Right. Who knew?
um, but it's all of that. You can save money obviously by bringing
Yes.
your own silverware or bringing your own cups. Like,
Right.
for example, at my place of business, we were providing, silverware, plastic, and blah, blah,
Yes.
blah. But now we have a sink.
Mhm.
So we can have metal forks
Yes.
and we can have plates and everything so they wash your dishes.
Right. So you're at the best level.
Exactly. And that's,
Mhm.
obviously where we're trying to be.
You're making a difference.
So and obviously it's important because we're trying to preserve our earth
Yes.
for the future and not trying to emit all these noxious gases and
Right.
and everything. Um in real life though, like we've been talking, ways that we can be sustainable. Bring your own.
Yes.
Other thoughts.
Well, certainly consign.
Absolutely. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Okay.
So, consigning or doing, bringing stuff to a consignment store to sell.
Yes.
Super important
Mhm.
because
Well, again, you're reusing something. So something in my closet that it's just not seeing the light of day, someone else is going to get excited about. And so I first and foremost stop at your store. Okay, what can I find? I have
right.
something coming up that I can't find something in my closet to wear. And people laugh because I really don't have a lot of clothes. I love it. Like you really
Wow.
only
I can't
you can't
imagine that.
imagine.
No way.
But you tend to only rotate through like your favorite 7 to 10 things max.
20% of your closet is what you wear.
Right?
80% of the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I
can
encourage
attest.
people like look at it. If it's not being used, then you're just clouding your mind every
Mhm.
morning going, what am I going to put on today?
Right.
So and the furniture too that you
Oh,
use.
yes.
I stage homes as part of my
You do.
vocation right now. And so I come to you first and go, okay, what's in here?
Right.
What can we use over and over and over again? And then I have furniture handed down to me, from my family that I've had repurposed. And so I think it's just every single thing that's in your hand, in your closet, in your car, whatever, go, does this really fit? Does this fill a
Right.
purpose? Is there a reason for this in my life? And could someone else benefit from it if it's not for me?
The Marie Kondo. If it doesn't
I
bring you joy.
Oh my goodness. Should show you pictures. I was doing that for my boys' middle school t-shirts
gosh.
and they're like, "Mom, this is obnoxious. Stop doing this." And I think, okay, I'm not a cute little Asian woman. I wish so I probably wouldn't have made it like she did, but I sure wish I had just
I
gone
know,
with the
right?
concept.
I
Uh-huh.
tell you, there's so
Uh-huh.
many of those things. You're like, I shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda. But she's brilliant
She
in
is.
saying, like, it sounds a little silly at first, but does this bring you joy? And so to me, I just say, does this fit in my life? Am I
Right.
using this? And if I'm not, who could?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yep. Reduce, reuse, recycle. The tagline at True Fashionistas is going green the designer way.
Oh,
Always has been since
yes.
day one.
Okay.
It's the truth.
Right.
I know from being in there, it's like people come to us before they go to the other stores, which is
Yes.
why.
Right.
It's great. They understand that sustainability in fashion, and fashion is so much waste.
Oh,
It's so much
that
waste.
could be a whole hour.
It sure could be because it's not just the waste, it's the water that they use, which is the power, which is I
Yes.
mean, we're going down a rabbit hole,
Right.
but it's all of it. It's
Right.
all encompassing and it's one of the most wouldn't you say one of the most
it's
wasteful?
Absolutely. It is so heavy in the landfill. And even myself, I'm thinking, okay, this is worn out. I mean, let's just be real. Worn out underwear. What are you going
Right.
to do with that?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you're thinking I throw that away, right?
Right.
So I have found a couple companies that will take, and I have a bag, and I set up my whole garage. Here's the recycling can, the trash can. I have the bags that need to go back to Publix, even though I'm not on
Right.
purpose using plastic bags. If I
Forget.
call Instacart, I have a delivery with
Right.
plastic bags. And so there are so many different companies. And I don't know, could we add some links to those to the
We
show
absolutely
notes?
could.
And
Absolutely.
that way people can say, oh, great, I can put my,
Right.
torn clothes that obviously True Fashionista is not going to take. And I don't want to donate that because these places that you donate, like I know you partner with the Val
Right.
Hospice, love them. You don't want them getting your trash.
Correct.
Ever.
And I know that there are also companies that you can set your stuff aside and let's say there's rips and stains and whatever on it that you'll put them and you can bale them together.
Yes.
And then they take them and, I don't know that it's really melting them down, but whatever it is that they do, the magic that they create to make all of these other fabrics.
Right.
So
just research instead of any time you're going to throw something away, just go, hang on. Like
Right.
I watch people auto toss even recyclable containers. And I'm like, why does it only matter to me?
They
And
just have to stop. What is that? Stop, drop, and roll. But what
yes,
should our saying be?
stop, drop, and where can this go?
Right. Yeah, there you go. I mean, truthfully,
Right.
maybe if there was a campaign around it, stop, drop, and where can we go?
Yes. I just
It
saw
would
a guy
be-
recently that decided to wear his trash for a week. It's brilliant.
Oh my
And
gosh.
he's like, I'm instead of throwing it, I want people to see, because again, the second it leaves our hands, we're like, it's gone. I don't have to deal with it anymore. That's not the case.
All I can picture is a man walking around in Velcro,
Yes.
and every time he has a
It's-
piece of garbage, he Velcros it onto his body.
Right. I'll send it to you. It's kind of what he's doing. And I'm like, what an amazing visual.
Because we all need visual. We can't.
Yes.
There's one thing having a conversation about it, but
Mhm.
then there's another looking at something and not in a faraway land,
Right.
not in a landfill that I have no idea where that's at,
Mhm.
because that to me has no there's no grounding to it. There's no
Right.
real life.
Right. It's removed enough from us.
Exactly.
Mhm.
It's happening somewhere else. It's not going to affect me.
No, it's
So-
affecting you. And, I know we talked about just the planet, but we're not even, and I don't know that we have time, but we're not even speaking of what happens when you're drinking regularly from plastic.
Oh yes, the chemicals in your body.
Correct.
And as I look at my plastic cup over here,
She'll never use it again.
I don't think I usually carry my Yeti, but
That's all right. See,
forgot it.
I don't want anyone feeling guilty because, again, they hide their grocery carts from me.
It's kind of funny because I'll be at Publix and I'll be in the checkout line. It's a very similar situation. I'll be in the checkout line, and there'll be somebody that I know from a workout establishment, and I'll
Yes.
be like, "Oh God, oh my God, they're going to judge me." I have a bag of chips right front and center. I push them to the back.
And it's so
I
sad that
cover
we
it up.
automatically assume we're being judged.
That's fine, and that's another whole podcast.
That's
right?
another podcast.
Absolutely.
Let's just love on each other. We don't know what anyone's going through.
You're
I have
right.
my own stress chips that
Yeah.
I say I have to eat every time I'm negotiating a contract.
Absolutely. I don't know what mine is, but it's definitely involves sugar.
And those chip bags are recyclable through a company called TerraCycle.
Really?
Yes.
I feel like I've seen
Mhm.
something about them somewhere.
Yes.
Really?
Oh, we'll have all kind of links.
Oh my gosh, we can drop in a bunch of links.
Yes.
And we are going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be right back with Karen talking about sustainability. Do you want us to just pause here, or do you want us to keep going?
You can pause for like 2 seconds and then continue.
Okay. So, should we talk about bees and composting next?
Absolutely.
So we're at 10:28. So I'll do another at 10:45. I'll do another commercial break thereabouts, because but we didn't get started right at 10. So okay, so we'll talk about bees next. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. You're listening to The Fashionista Life, and I am your host, Jennifer, brought to you by let me back up. Hi, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to The Fashionista Life, brought to you by True Fashionistas. I am your host, Jennifer Johnson, and we are back with the Queen Bee of Sustainability, Karen Wilkinson. Hi again.
Well, I'm glad to be back. I know what's coming.
Yes, you do. We are going, okay, so you're in love with bees.
I am.
And you like worms. We're going to talk
Yes.
about bees first.
Okay.
Where did that whole love of bees come about? And let's talk about bees in the realm of sustainability.
Okay.
And I know
We need them.
So let's talk about them.
We need them.
Why?
They-
Why do
they're-
we need
Well,
them?
they're our pollinating friends. Without them, we're not going to eat. And I was trying to think of the statistics I read. I think we have a decline of almost 3 million bee colonies over the last few years in the US.
Wow.
That's massive. And every time I see someone say, I've got to have a beehive removed, and they call the local
Mm.
pest person. No,
You're like, no,
don't.
you're killing them.
Correct. They can be safely moved. There are beekeepers here in Florida. I knew I loved bees, but when I got into real estate, I started doing branding. You know all about
Yes,
branding.
I know
My
all about
pink friend in her pink car with her pink lips and everything. Yes. And so we started talking about, of course, my faith always comes into it.
Mhm.
And I love that God has designed everything is what
Yes.
I truly believe and live and feel and know. And bees are critical in that. And I mean, it's brilliant design. And the
Mhm.
queen bee, like, I love it because they all have to work together and they're working on one mission. And no one says, my job is more important than yours. And they do protect the queen bee for various reasons. But I felt like it just put everything I am about together. And of course, crediting God for designing these
Right.
bees and for our food and homegrown and local and just caring for our environment. So that's when it really came out.
Okay.
And of course, I be happy, be home. And it's
Right.
not, to me, it's not at all just real estate. It's about like earth is our home.
Right.
And we want to be happy and helping each other. And that's what the bees do. They all work together for one
I
purpose.
love that.
Yeah.
And there, I mean, you're right. I've heard everybody, I think, has probably heard about the bee decline and everything.
Yes.
And for a while, I don't know if they know really what's killing them off.
And
Or,
mostly because we're using pesticides, like we are killing them.
Mhm.
And we're not creating. So, there are various things you can do, different flowers that you can plant. Sometimes you probably hear
Oh,
about
really?
butterfly gardens.
Yes.
You can also plant certain things for bees. I have a T-shirt that I wear around that says "Plant these for the bees."
Really?
And
So
it has a whole list.
Can you give us a couple of plants at the top of your head
off
if
the
you
top
remember
of
them?
my head? I know. I'm like,
like honeysuckle. That's what I'm thinking of. But then
well,
I'm,
and you would think that, and it's funny. I was like, I just wore this shirt. I should have worn it today, so I could
you
just
should have.
I could just read it to you. But when you came and joined me on Saturday for the big recycling composting event, yeah, it's funny. I should have written them all down.
And talking about that, you can
Mhm.
like we did this event. We partnered with this event and Vow at a neighborhood in
Yes.
town, and those are great things to organize within your community. Again, going back to reduce, reuse, recycle, you set it up.
Yes.
And have a donation company come, consignment store come. You can do this all across the country,
That was
and
great.
and we're going to talk about Naples composting here shortly, but certain partners like that, which will definitely get the word out there in every single neighborhood.
Yes. So as far as sunflowers, I knew were big.
Okay.
And we certainly have a lot of sun
Mhm.
here. So that's an easy. But the herbs, that's primarily what I have in my garden.
Really?
So sage, thyme, lavender, dill.
Okay, the bees?
Yes.
Why? Because they don't really pollinate them, do they?
They're flying around doing their job, things that you and I don't even
Oh,
have
wow.
any concept of. I don't know if you've seen recently, the pictures are so cute. There's a flower that a bee falls asleep in. Its behind is so
no.
full of pollen and it's tired and it's resting. And I'm like,
Oh my God, that's funny. That sounds like me
I
after a
get
lot
that,
of
right?
chocolate. I'm like, oh man.
but then we can
Wow.
talk about local honey as well. And you hear how many health benefits
Yes.
there are. And you hear about like, take this for the allergies. And
My daughter loves honey on everything.
so do I.
So anywhere, like, Chick-fil-A, she'll dunk her, her
Yes.
nuggets in there or whatever. But
Right.
anywhere we go in the country, if we're traveling, we buy honey from them,
Perfect.
like locally grown
Yes,
honey.
it's in my tea right now.
Wow.
And it's there. It has anti-inflammatory properties. And again, I go, God thought of it first. He
Right.
provided all these wonderful things for us. And so we have to take care of it. That is our job.
Mhm. That is our job.
Mhm.
But I love the be happy, be home.
Yes.
That's very cool.
Because
And
again, it fits. It
it's
fits
all encompassing.
all encompassing.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I was at your house.
Mhm.
And I'm asking for Mother's Day what you have.
The sub pods to compost.
Yes, I can't have it quite that large.
Okay.
But so what you have at your home is absolutely ingenious. So you have it's not really a raised
It's garden beds.
garden
yes.
bed, but it's a
Mhm.
garden bed.
It is raised though.
And-
yeah.
Oh, it
Mhm.
is? So it's
Yes.
not. So you have built a garden.
Yes.
And in it you have like what you were talking about. You have all kinds of herbs
Yes. The
and
soil is from composting.
which you have embedded. Let's talk about what you have embedded in there
Okay.
and how that all works. Cause I know this is going to get us into the worms,
Yes.
which I remember as a kid growing up, we would go get earthworms.
Yes.
We'd wait for it to rain. The worms would come
Oh
up.
yes.
We'd go and grab them. And then my
Probably
dad-
night crawlers, right?
Oh,
Were you
night
out at night?
crawlers. That's
Mhm.
exactly
Mhm.
it. And my dad would take us fishing down it was a something culvert, some culvert that
Yes.
ran into, and we would go fishing with those worms. And I still to this day I will not touch them.
I didn't know as an entrepreneur at age 7, I was selling praying mantis eggs and, and night crawlers.
Oh my gosh.
And in the 70s and 80s, like
Yeah.
50 cents an egg, $1. I mean, it was like,
Right.
wow, we made a lot of money. And of
That's
course,
so
of
funny.
course, I'm like, Dad, why are you dragging us out in the middle of the night for night crawlers?
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about your flower bed, or not really your
Yes,
flower bed, but
the
your garden.
Mhm. Well, there are flowers in there too to take care of these bees, of course. And again, just to shout out a local business, Naples Compost. Like, oh, they are creating all of this
And I just
soil.
found out about them
Yes.
just
So
from Saturday.
if you're thinking there's no way I can do what she's doing right now, that's okay. You can call Naples Compost. They have us a monthly subscription. They come pick it up your bucket. You don't even have to rinse it out. And so all of that food waste, scraps, coffee. I mean, think of just the coffee grinds in this city alone.
I know, right?
The
Like, how can you
eggshells.
partner with Starbucks to get all of
Right.
their
I used to.
Right?
I used to when my kids were at Seacrest. They would save it for me, and we would freeze it. And just one daily run, we would have garbage bags full of coffee grinds.
That is so crazy. I
Right.
saw the stuff in your compost.
Mhm.
I'm like, what? But then you were
Yes.
taking off, or no, Naples Compost was taking off the banana labels.
Yes.
Or any labels.
Don't
can't
put
be on
stickers
there.
in your compost. No. But again, you can pay that monthly fee. They will come pick it up. They will rinse your bucket, and out of that comes this gorgeous, gorgeous soil. So Amanda with
Wow.
Naples Compost said, "Here,
Mhm.
thank you for inviting me." Like, it's so funny, but dirt is a gift to me. She's like, "I feel kind of silly. I'm giving you a pineapple plant and a bucket of dirt, and I know you're going to be so happy."
So do they give you dirt back in?
You can get that
exchange it
back
for dirt.
yes. So I threw that in my garden.
Mhm.
It's no secret that my husband went through something major recently, and
Yes.
so
we're
while
very thankful
oh,
that
he's a
all
miracle.
of our prayers have been answered.
Yes,
He is a
thank
walking
you,
miracle.
God. He's a miracle. But while I was gone, my neighbors filled up my garden with composted soil. They said, "We
Wow.
noticed this isn't full. Why not?" And I said, "Oh, I was trying to get quotes and who has enough to
Mhm.
fill this." And so that was what they gifted. And again,
Wow.
does that not just speak to our community?
It does.
And to bees and to
Mhm.
doing your jobs and to just helping each other and lifting each other up. And so they filled that. They planted gorgeous eggplant. Who knew eggplant
Oh.
grows in Florida? I didn't even know that.
And they're small ones. Your husband
They're
was telling me
babies.
they're baby
Mhm.
ones, and they taste delicious. And
Yes.
your garden, I have not seen a garden like that.
Right.
Outside of, growing up in Minnesota, where, we had
Everything's huge.
everything's huge, and we have, animal waste
Right.
that is our fertilizer,
Fertilizer.
right?
Mhm.
So our stuff just grew to massive, you picture
Right.
those huge pumpkins that you see that were the grand prize winner.
I know where they came from.
You
Yes.
know, but I have not seen plants like that
But
anywhere.
I think it's I truly, I know this is going to sound so silly, but I truly believe it's because it was so planted out of love.
Mhm.
All of these
Yeah.
people that surrounded us and just wanted to do something. Who knows? People say you have amazing green thumb. I'm like, let's see what happens next year. Because I didn't
That's
plant
funny.
all of this. This was
But-
planted for me.
But you're right. And it's the gift that we, that's
Yes.
a trite saying, but the gift that keeps on giving and giving, but it does. You look
Oh.
out there and you remember.
And I've had so much fun. I will post on Instagram story or Facebook story and, the harvest of the day,
Right.
and it's out of control. And I'll say, who wants some? And so I've had people stop by that
Mhm.
maybe I wouldn't have run into because I
Yeah.
can pass over these. Here are some eggplant. Here's some peppers.
Right.
Here's, basil. Oh my goodness. And I've got this Cuban oregano that's out of control.
I know I saw that. I
Mhm.
think my husband's probably on his way over there right now
Good.
to take your
I hope he is. So what I plead for people, and you referenced a while ago, what can we do? Like, I want to cry every time I see those herbs in the little plastic containers at the
Mhm.
grocery
Yeah.
store. At the very least, buy a plant.
right.
So what if it dies?
Mm-hmm.
That plastic's going to be there forever and ever and ever and ever.
Exactly.
Maybe it's going to grow. Maybe it's going to do well. And, I asked my neighbors, I'm like, before you go buy anything, please just come to the garden.
Yeah.
And what if we had those in each neighborhood and community? Like we've been
Community
on
garden.
lockdown for 2 years and we
Mhm.
want to get outside and we want to see people. We've been more fortunate here in Florida that we've
Right.
been able to continue that, but not everybody has. But what if you had a garden?
Mm-hmm.
or you had, did you see the kids playing in my
I
worm
did.
farm?
So we're going to talk about
Yes.
worms next, but you
Mhm.
know, I was in recently on a college tour,
Okay.
but we landed in Franklin, Tennessee, and our friends live there, and they have a neighborhood garden.
I love it.
It's massive,
Mhm.
and at any given moment, you would see somebody out there working the
Oh.
garden, weeding it, doing whatever,
Mhm.
harvesting. It was so cool. I feel like we need more of that. I feel like
We
that's
do.
something that is long lost.
It's therapeutic.
It is.
I
It's
think
very
I'm an older
therapeutic.
woman now because I get it.
I always say, we talked about that at the beginning of the show where I grew up on a farm and you did too. And
Yes.
neither of us were that thankful for it then.
Mhm.
But now I really wish that I could have shown my children that.
Yes.
I wish that I had that right now. Like I could go out on my farm and just disappear for a while and tend to my garden.
Okay, so but you could still go out. We have Mike's You Pick. I know
True.
the blueberry farm out in LaBelle they just finished it. I think this is their last weekend. So go out and pick your own, bring it
Mhm.
home, make a jam.
Yeah.
Maybe
Or a
we're not.
pie.
Yeah. Hey, I want
You
to be
coming
invited.
over? But I agree. We can take your garden is larger,
Mhm.
but you can take what you have. Like I'm pleading for the little 4x4s that you had before.
Yes. Yes.
That can I have that for Mother's Day, please? Like it's
Right.
easy. It's not hard. And then you get the composting. What are those things? Those buckets that you
Oh,
put in
so
there?
I
Those,
use sub pods because they're
okay.
buried. I used to have a tray system and I gave it away to a friend. Um, and I was like, gosh, rainy season's coming, as you know. And so I didn't want to have to deal with like, where am I going to put it now? And of course, on Instagram, my husband sees this and he's like, this is what you need. And so I got that for Christmas and I love it.
And so tell me what the worm. Okay, so you order worms.
I do. I use Uncle Jim's Worm Farm.
Okay.
They're fabulous. I'm looking for local. I'm sure there are farmers markets if someone's listening right now and says,
Right.
I know where you can get worms in Southwest Florida, even better.
Okay.
But currently I use Uncle Jim's Worm Farm and they FedEx my worms.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, what's in your FedEx package? Please don't open that.
Right,
You'll be
right.
sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm sure they know.
So I saw them crawling around. And what is their
Their
what
job.
do they do? Their
Yeah,
job. Yeah, what's their
they're
job?
literally eating these food scraps. It's crazy. Again, God thought of it all. We don't even have to figure all
Wow.
this out. So I know it's going to sound a little cuckoo, but there was a special. There was a worm special.
So you load it up.
So I bought 4,000 worms.
Oh my word.
Which sounds like a lot, but they're little. They
I
come.
did see them.
They,
Yeah.
yeah. And you throw them in there and you forget about it. That's what you do.
Oh wow.
Like how wonderful. So I have a stainless steel little tub. I mean, it's not even huge. This little container that sits on my sink.
Mhm.
And everyone knows in the house, like if you use eggshells, fruit
Mhm.
scraps, veggie scraps, coffee grinds, tea, my loose tea
Mm-hmm.
goes in there. And I would say we fill it 1 to 2 times a week.
Wow.
And then I go out and I dump it in the
Mhm.
sub pod. I might do a little aerating of the system. I might not. And it just takes care of itself.
That's wild.
And I think you were able to see like, okay, this is all the food. And then
Mhm.
now this is this gorgeous soil. So instead of running to, your big, what do I want to say? Big box places
Right. Your big box
to buy fertilizer in a plastic bag. I didn't have to use my car to go
Mhm.
buy anything. There was no plastic bag to put in the landfill. Do you see where I'm
Yeah,
going with
see where you're
this?
going. I gotcha. I see
Mhm.
where you're going. All right, guys, we're going to take another quick commercial break and we will be right back with Karen talking about sustainability. So we're going to just quick touch on solar. Just like I can talk about, we have a solar heater for our pool.
Yeah, and there's supposed to be a nice tax break too.
There is supposed to be, yes.
If we have a tax break.
Electric cars are coming into their own now, becoming more popular.
Which is interesting though, because the batteries aren't so great.
Oh, so maybe we just don't talk about that. That's okay.
Well, maybe we say do your research because
yeah,
I learned.
Yeah, and because I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And then sustainable communities, we're just going to touch on Babcock Ranch because we have about 15 minutes left. And then if you have like a 1, 2, 3, like I'm just starting. We're talking, I know nothing about this. Give me the 3 steps that I should do first. Where should I start? What should I start with? Kind of thing. Yeah. All right. Welcome back, everyone. You are listening to the Fashionista Life brought to you by True Fashionista. And I am your host, Jennifer Johnson. And we are here today with Karen Wilkinson. And we're going to continue our discussion on sustainability as you are the queen bee of
My
sustainability.
favorite topic.
So we were just talking about composting and worms and bees. Now we're going to go into we live in the Sunshine State.
Yes, we do.
Okay. So solar energy.
Yes.
I know that in my home, I have solar panels to heat the pool.
Good girl. See,
Yeah, I
you're
did
doing
something.
something great.
You know, besides my solar calculator. Sorry. But you know, I have that. So that's how we heat our pool.
Yes.
You know, any other thoughts on the solar aspect?
There are some programs I would have to look further into it, but there are programs where you can be paid by the utility company because
Wow,
again, where
that's
there's
cool.
just such a demand.
Mhm.
You know what we're asking everything to do for
Right.
us. So good. Yay for solar heat on the pool. And let's take it a step further. You know, how much energy can we create through that? And again, I am not the professional on this. I would have to do more
Right.
research myself, but you're inspiring me to go, okay, let me look at this. What
Yeah.
else could I be doing?
I know my daughter was taking an AP environmental class and we
Mhm.
were talking about solar and we were talking about wind power. And
Yes.
I don't really know of any wind farms per se here in
No.
Florida. But I know that they exist. I was in Texas. I went to Austin,
That's a
Texas
big
not
one.
long ago, and
Yes.
we did see them.
Mhm.
So I
And
mean,
there's of course the water power. You see
yes.
the mills.
Mhm.
You
It's
know?
so wild to me
Yes.
that you know we have wind and sun and water, and let's harness that
Right, we
more
got
than what we
lazy.
are. We did.
Mhm.
It was just too easy.
Right.
And so now let's find a way back to that. You know,
Correct.
that's how it
we're
was
facing
done.
the consequences.
But
Mhm.
that's how it was done way back in the day. We need to get back to the roots of things.
Oh my goodness, yes. And I think as traffic slows down, I'll get my
Mhm.
bike out again. It'll be hotter than Hades, but
Well,
I
it will.
still
Oh my gosh.
but I don't like to ride my bike during season. It's a
No.
little
Dangerous.
too questionable.
Mhm.
Yes. But you could certainly say, okay, once a week I'm going to ride my bike, or when I go to the farmer's market,
Right.
I'll ride my bike.
Right, exactly.
Mhm.
It's doing something. It's
Do
getting rid of
something.
those. Now you were talking about your bike. We're going to go into cars.
Yes.
Okay, because we all hear about you know Teslas and
Right.
every manufacturer is making their own. Like I know Ford it has one
Has a
that
brand
will,
new one.
yeah, and it will power your house.
Oh.
I mean, and we're talking like the land of hurricanes here in Florida,
right.
and we're right on the heels of that.
Yes, we are.
But you know, how good are these? Do you have a lot of
So
knowledge? I mean, I don't know
I
a
was
lot.
really surprised when I was due for a new car, I aka the lease is up.
Yeah, right. That's me too.
I asked my husband, I said, I want to plug it in. I
Mhm.
want to go, it's green. I can't be this queen of sustainability and be driving an
Right.
SUV. You know, I'm no longer a soccer mom. What can I do? And so he started researching and he said, you know what? You think it's greener than it is. These batteries cannot be recycled. They're a mess for the environment.
Wow.
And I was like, wait, what? And so he did a side by side comparison. Now, again, this was before our gas prices went
right.
crazy. And he said, you actually are not saving any money. So if it's just for financial reason, this didn't make sense. But just sticking with the green and sustainability, it also didn't make sense. So
Wow.
yeah, do some research on the batteries. Where do those go?
Mhm.
So I like to say I'm a tree hugger who drives a BMW on eco mode.
So that's very interesting because you know, I mean, we all hear how horrible batteries are and
Yes.
everything, but you would think they would find a way, since that's kind of their thing. We're trying to omit all the fossil fuels and everything.
Right.
So then find a way to fix the problem with the batteries.
They have to.
Yeah.
That's not here yet. I would like to say that they're working on it, but I don't have
Yeah.
knowledge in that. But you did make me think of a tangent while we're on batteries.
Mhm.
Did you know all those batteries you're using can be recycled?
Did not know
Don't
that.
throw them in your can.
Okay.
Again,
Toxic.
are your listeners nationwide?
Yes, they
okay.
are.
So
They are.
I know I'm speaking for Southwest Florida, but we'll say go find in your local area. But here, I like to use the North Collier recycling there on
I've been
Goodlet.
there. Yes, I've been there.
So we have we have a little container of batteries,
Mhm.
and then I have a baggie in there specifically, and that's the only time I'll use a baggie. You can test me; it's true.
I'm coming to look.
Yeah, you should. You can I label it,
Mhm.
used batteries. And so I say to my kids, my husband, like, when you're going for a new set of batteries, you take those old ones and put it in the baggie. And when that fills, then,
Right.
I've got all kinds of things that have to go to a specialty recycling center.
Wow. I know I've been there several times with several different, your paint cans. You never
Yes.
want to throw paint in your
Right.
trash.
Do you use dry shampoo?
I don't.
Oh, you're a good girl.
No,
Yeah.
why?
Well,
I
like
hate it.
like
Ugh.
the aerosols.
Oh,
So
right,
those
yes.
those metal,
Mhm.
anything aerosol has to go also.
And also something, and this is, not really recycling, but your used meds.
Yes.
You can bring them, I know, to Walgreens. I've done
Mhm.
that several times. They
Yes.
will not take them at a recycling
No.
center, but you can bring them to
The sheriff's office.
Walgreens, the sheriff's office, and
Mhm.
sometimes they'll do a special drive in your community of
Yes.
bring your unused subscript or your
Right.
scripts to us, and we'll dispose of them. You never want to put them down a waterway. They get into our water.
No. So I know we went on a little bit of a tangent, but also your white foam. So you get your new ceiling fan or your new
yes.
lights, because again, staging homes, I like to
Mhm.
update some things, and there's just a ton of white foam.
Mhm.
And for any of you Chick-fil-A lovers, your
Oh.
drinks are all coming in
You're
white
right.
foam. Rinse that out. And, I just have it set up in my garage. So once this is
Mhm.
full, then I go make a trip. I probably go there one every 3 months.
Mhm.
And they're as nice as the Chick-fil-A employees there.
My pleasure. My
Mhm.
pleasure.
They are. So sometimes I just take things that I'm not sure of before I throw it away. I
Mhm.
just take it. And almost every time they take something that I didn't think they would. For instance, my Wolf stove, like, I don't know what the computer panel went out. That was recyclable.
The computer panel was?
Yes. And so, of course,
Oh,
I asked the repair guy, I said, "Are you just going to throw that away?" And, of course, they're like, "Yeah, why,
right.
lady? Why, crazy lady?"
Why? What do you want to know?
And I said, "Well, I'd like to see if it's recyclable." And so, wouldn't you know, it sure is. And then I called Wolf Company and said, "You need to spread this around
Right.
to all your repair service
Mhm.
men and women. Like, they can be recycling this, and that would make people like me even more apt to call you if you said we recycle."
Right. But that's the problem.
Mhm.
Knowledge is power.
Yes.
If we don't know, we don't know. And then we
Right.
just do what we've always done.
Right.
So there needs to be, a campaign saying,
Stop, drop, and where can it go?
Stop, drop. We're going to
You don't even have to drop. Stop, don't drop, because you don't want to drop it in the
Right.
trash.
I mean, it's just, there has to be something around that so that people understand
Mhm.
that, you know what, before you do anything, before you drop that
Yes.
in the garbage can, wait,
Mhm.
what can be done with that?
Just think.
Mhm.
Just pause.
Exactly.
Anything.
And Google it.
And
Google
Sure.
it, right?
Or do what all my friends do. Call me.
We'll call you and say, do you know?
Where does this go?
Yes,
And I
exactly.
usually, if I don't know, you better believe I'm going to find
Yep.
out.
And I know you
Mhm.
would find out. Absolutely. So there's actually been communities built around being sustainable.
Right.
We actually have one basically in our backyard. It's
We
called
do.
Babcock Ranch. And I
Mhm.
did a little bit of research on it, but
Okay.
it's been designed from the ground up to be America's first 100% sustainable city powered by solar energy.
Right.
It has electric shuttles. It has miles and miles of walking trails and
Their own Publix. So they're
Yes.
walking to it.
and a farm to table program for the residents. I
Right.
mean, I'm sure we're going to see more of these popping up
I
around the
hope so.
country.
Mhm.
I mean, they built a whole city off of it.
Right.
That's the name of their town, and
It's hard to find a home in there.
that
Mhm.
I'm sure because it's so. I'm imagining there's just going to be more and more of that kind of thing popping up around the country.
That's the goal.
So
And there has to be demand for it.
right. Exactly. But I do believe that,
Mhm.
our generation, the generation now, I know my daughter who's 16 is all about sustainability. She is not going to go buy anything fast fashion.
No.
She absolutely will not. She'll find, unfortunately for me, she'll be like, I really like this brand and it's expensive.
Right.
But then she wears it and wears it and wears it.
Yes.
And then when she doesn't, then she brings it to the store and she
And
sells it.
there's something in there. I mean, really,
Mhm.
Jennifer, we could talk about that, because people, I'm sure, say to you, wow, some of these seem priced high
Mhm.
and it's consignment. But I like to say, like, you are making an investment.
Right.
That stuff we won't say who, delivers to us 24/7,
Right.
365 nonstop. As soon as I get an ad from them on
Mhm.
clothing, I'm like, you've got to be kidding. That
Mhm.
yes, it's cheap, but I put cheap in parentheses or quotation marks. What does cheap mean?
Right.
Inexpensive at this moment, but
Right.
not for our planet.
Exactly. Exactly. And not to mention that cheap piece in air
Mhm.
quotes is going to wear out after the first time that you wear
Absolutely.
it. So it's not just that it already ruined the environment once,
Yes.
it's ruining it again
Right.
because you can't sell that.
No.
There's nothing you can do with that other than,
Or
hopefully
even
find
pass
somebody
it
that
down
can.
to another
Right.
family. Like I love hand-me-downs. I still take
It's
them.
and
I come
my
and buy them now.
number is just call me. So, you're right, but that her generation, their
Mhm.
generation, is definitely more about sustainability. We see a lot of younger people come
Mhm.
into the store to shop resale and consignment because of that factor.
Right.
So I think that's cool. It may be catching on,
Oh, I hope so.
and it's got to start somewhere. So give us your top 3 things that we can do right now or how we start. What are your top 3 things? And if you can't come up with 3, give me more.
I know. I
I'm sure you
probably
probably could.
And this is on the spot. I wish I had a list because I'm like, I know I'll listen to this again and go, wow, I missed that. And we're joking because I'm not judging you, my beautiful
know.
friend, but we're joking about your plastic water bottle sitting here. She knew it was coming.
Yes, I did.
Carry your own water bottle. Carry your own mug to whatever coffee place that you like to go to, and they're great about refills and everything. It just again from Southwest Florida, I don't want the hot sun beating down
Right.
on that, and I don't know how long it sat in the semi truck, and then
Right.
how long it sat outside of whatever grocery store you're purchasing it from. I don't know how long the sun sat on that.
Right. Because
Mhm,
I know somebody that actually got sick.
mhm,
They got a bacterial infection. They ended up in the hospital extremely ill
uh-huh.
from drinking water out of a water bottle that sat in their car all day.
I believe it.
So,
And again, not to go on too many tangents, but my husband had a double lung transplant
Mhm.
6 months ago, and it was fascinating to us to learn what water he has to drink.
a
Beca-
lot of it, I bet.
well, but it can't be tap water, and it cannot be certain bottled water.
Wow.
We learned a lot. Like that, I thought I already
Hmm.
knew. So we
Mhm.
bought an RO system.
Yes.
And again, selling so much real estate, and I see these RO systems, and then I see the homeowners walking out with plastic water bottles. I'm like, I don't understand.
Right.
Okay, so see, I'm going. Okay, that's number one. Number one are those water
Those
bottles.
pesky water bottles.
And living in hurricane world, I
Mhm.
understand why sometimes it's good to have those stored. So I used to say to my children, these are hurricane supplies. This is not, I was too lazy to
Right.
fill my reusable
Mhm.
water bottle. Goodness, number 2, please, please recycle. It really is a no-brainer. Our country makes it so easy. If
Mhm.
you fly out west, like San Diego, I think I probably should have been a child out there. They're composting in their airport, and people are doing
Wow.
it right.
Mhm.
So I see these great recycling systems set up, and you still see trash in the recycling, and you see
Mhm.
recycling in the trash. And guess what? That all became trash now.
Right.
So don't ruin for
Right.
what people are doing
Mhm.
correctly. Don't ruin it. Like, please pay attention. I see that in the hospitals where they're trying to recycle and people just throw their food on it.
Right.
So pay attention. Goodness. Number 3, if you're not composting, and this sounds way too over the top for you, then consider calling my friend at Naples
Mhm.
Compost. I mean, what an amazing value add. What an amazing company. Just get involved. Your kids will love it. Your family's going to start thinking. That's a first step.
It
Like,
is.
what is compostable?
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, maybe you go, gosh, this isn't so hard. We're doing it on our own. But I
Yeah.
would start with those 3 things. Okay, number 4,
Ah.
bring your grocery bag.
Yes.
Oh,
I've done that forever. My children laugh
Mhm.
at me and call me the bag lady.
yes. Yes. And there was a time again through the pandemic where they went, you can't use those. We
Yes,
don't
there
know if
was.
this virus is stuck on it. It's
Mhm.
not.
Right. Yeah,
Newsflash.
right.
It's
Hello,
not.
hello. Is anyone listening?
Right. So I think those are 4 extremely easy. Maybe the composting is a little advanced. I don't think so, but at least bring your reusable water bottle. bring your reusable bags, and consider composting. What was the other one I said? Do you remember?
Recycle.
Recycle.
Mhm.
And don't ruin it for other
Right,
people. Pay
exactly.
attention to what you're throwing and where.
And I think those are 4 solid and easy steps
Easy.
that people can take.
Yes.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Oh, just support local. Support local
Mhm.
businesses. I'm so proud of you.
Oh,
And your
thank
big,
you.
big store now, like you've expanded, and it really does make a difference. So
It does.
support local. I like to imagine, because again, and I'm sorry to bring back the pandemic, but there were certain businesses that did not make it,
There were.
understandably so. And so I like to imagine in my mind, if I opened up social media and saw like one of my favorite businesses was no longer going to be here, how sad would I be? Which businesses would really
Right.
impact me if they went away? Go support those.
I agree. Shop local
Absolutely.
because you are helping your community
Mhm.
and the community, the economy
Yes.
in your town. Super, super important
Right.
to shop local, be local.
Be
Absolutely.
local. See,
Be
that's
local. Oh, I see where I went with that.
that.
Ba-dum-bum. I don't have symbols, but
It worked. It worked.
so wonderful. Well, thank you so much to Karen for being our guest today on the True Fashionista or the Fashionista Life podcast. We really
Yes.
appreciate it. And we will make sure that we drop links into the description of our podcast so that you have some
Awesome.
more information.
Thanks for making a difference.
Thank you guys so much and make it a great day.